So, guys, you all know how bad last year was. The defense badly failed, we were giving up points left and right, and it was honestly frustrating to watch. But then the Cowboys made a change that I think is really starting to pay off. They brought in Christian Parker as the defensive coordinator, and this guy has seriously changed the whole vibe of this defense. And now an NFL analyst just put this entire roster through his championship checklist, and honestly, the results are pretty exciting. On top of that, a Cowboys legend just acknowledged what Christian Parker is doing with this team. What's up, Cowboys? Welcome to the NFL Playbook, Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So, guys, first let me explain what this checklist is actually about. Daniel Jeremiah, who is an NFL analyst, basically put together what he calls a championship foundation criteria. As he said, if you want to have a real shot at competing, you need 12 specific spots filled on your roster. You need 1 quarterback, 3 offensive playmakers, 3 quality offensive linemen, 2 pass rushers, and 3 defensive playmakers. Honestly, that sounds simple, right? But you would be surprised how many teams in this league cannot even check half these boxes. So I wanted to go through this list today and see, where the Cowboys actually stand right now. Like, are we really built for this, or are we just getting our hopes up again? Start with the quarterback spot, and honestly, guys, this is the easiest one for me. Like, there is no debate here. Dak Prescott is our guy, and when he is healthy, he has easily been a top 10 quarterback in this league. When Dak has been healthy, like in 2023 and 2025, there were maybe a handful of quarterbacks in the entire league who played at his level. Like, genuinely, you can count them on one hand. And people like to compare quarterbacks and talk about who is better, but the reality is, if you are doing your job right around him, Dak is more than enough to get this team to the postseason and beyond. Now, the one thing that does worry me, honestly, is the injuries. Like we saw what happened to Tony Romo. He was playing some of the best football of his career, and then the injuries just took over, and he was never really the same after that. So keeping Dak healthy has to be the #1 priority for this team. But right now, as a quarterback spot on Daniel Jeremiah's checklist, this is a straight-up yes for me. No question about it. Quarterback box is checked, guys. And now let's talk about the offensive playmakers. And look, this is another strong one for us. Daniel Jeremiah says you need 3 offensive playmakers, and honestly, I think we have more than that. Let me break it down for you. The first one is easy, CeeDee Lamb. Like, there is nothing to even debate here. This guy has given us 5 straight years of over 1,000 yards receiving. 5 straight years, guys. Like, that is just incredible consistency, and when he is healthy, he is honestly one of the best receivers in the whole league. So, Lamb is an automatic check on this list for me. Now, the second one is George Pickens. And look, I know he is new here, but what he did last year was seriously impressive. Like, his yards per route run was nearly identical to Lamb's, which tells you everything you need to know about how productive this guy was. So, yeah, George Pickens is absolutely checking that second box for me, no question. Now, the third one is Javvante Williams, and I am giving him that check too. Like, this guy ran for over 1,000 yards last year, and he was really efficient doing it. He was getting the tough yards, staying on schedule, doing everything you want from a running back. And then on top of all that, you have got Jake Ferguson and Ryan Flournoy, who just add even more depth to this group. Honestly, guys, when you look at our offensive playmakers as a whole, Daniel Jeremiah's 3-spot requirement is not just met, it is exceeded. Offensive playmakers box is checked and then some. So, guys, now let's get into the offensive line, and look, this one is a yes for me too. But I will be honest with you, it is not as clean as the first two. Like, there is a little bit of room for debate here, but hear me out. Daniel Jeremiah says you need 3 quality offensive linemen, and I think we have that. First guy for me is Tyler Smith, and this is an absolute no-brainer. Like, Tyler Smith is exactly what you want on your offensive line. He is physical, he is reliable, and honestly, he is one of the better offensive linemen in this league right now. That box is checked, no question. The second guy is Tyler Booker, and look, he is going into year 2 now, and I feel really good about where he is heading. Like, he did not say elite, he said quality, and I think Tyler Booker absolutely fits that definition. So, that is another check for me. And then third is Cooper Beebe, and honestly, I think he fits that quality mold too. Like, when you look around the rest of the NFL and see what some of these other teams are dealing with on their offensive lines, you realize that we are actually in a pretty decent spot. Now, the guys I do want to keep an eye on are Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton because, Daniel Jeremiah made a really good point about what he called the tomato can theory. Like, you cannot have four solid guys and then one guy on your line who just gets pushed around every single play because that one weak link is going to hurt the whole group. So, the play of Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton is going to matter a lot this season. But overall, guys, the offensive line box is checked for me. We have our three quality guys, and I feel good about this group. And now, if we talk about the defensive side of things, this is honestly where it starts to get a little uncertain for us. Daniel Jeremiah says you need two pass rushers, and look, I think we have options, but I am not going to tell you this is a guaranteed check like the offensive spots were. So Kenny Clark is one name that comes up here, but honestly, his 5% pressure rate is not good enough for me to fully count him in this category. He's just not the same player he used to be. So really, guys, this pass rush spot is coming down to who steps up among Rashan Gary, Donovan Ezaraku, and Malachi Lawrence. And look, I have a lot of hope for these guys. I really do. Like, Ezaraku showed some really promising flashes last year, but he also cooled off down the stretch, which is a little concerning. And Rashan Gary, I think if he stays healthy and plays as he did in his first 7 games last year, where he was averaging basically a sack per game, then yeah, he absolutely counts. But the last 9 games, he kind of faded, and that is the thing that worries me. So, honestly guys, this pass rush spot is still a real question mark heading into this season, and this is probably the one area where we need someone to really step up and prove themselves. So, guys, now let's talk about the defensive playmakers. And look, this is another spot where things get a little uncertain for us. Daniel Jeremiah says you need 3 defensive playmakers, and honestly, I think we can talk ourselves into it, but it is not a guaranteed yes for me. Let me break it down. The first guy I am counting is Caleb Downs. And look, I know he is just a first-year player, but my expectations for this guy are genuinely really high. Like, everything I have seen from him so far tells me he is going to be a real playmaker for this defense, and I am counting him as one of our 3. The second guy is Darren Bland, and this one is a little complicated, honestly. Like in 2023, this guy was absolutely incredible. All those interceptions, all those pick sixes, he was just everywhere on the field. But then, in the last 2 years, he has only had 1 interception in 19 games. 1. So, like, the best version of Darren Bland absolutely counts as a playmaker, but the guy we have seen recently, I am honestly not so sure. I really hope he can get back to that 2023 level because this defense needs that version of him. Now, the third spot guy is where it gets really interesting. Like, you could make a case for Kobe Durant, who had a bunch of interceptions last year. You could look at Jalen Thompson, who has been a solid player for us. Or you could talk about DeMarvion Overshown, who, when healthy, is a genuine playmaker, but last year, coming off that injury, he just was not himself. So honestly, guys, the defensive playmaker spot is the one area where I think we are still figuring things out. We have some promising pieces, but 3 guaranteed playmakers right now is not something I can say with full confidence. This is the spot that could make or break us this season. Now, guys, look. All of this ties perfectly into what Darren Woodson recently said about Christian Parker. He watched the defensive meetings, he saw how engaged the players were, how much they were communicating, and he was genuinely impressed. Darren Woodson is not someone who just pumps fluff. So when he says this defense looks smarter and more organized than before, you have to take that seriously. He even pointed out that half the problems in the past were guys not even being lined up properly before the snap. And honestly, we all know who he was talking about there. But that era is over now. And Christian Parker is bringing a whole new level of detail and communication to this defense that we have not seen in a long time. Now, look, guys, the playoffs are a whole different conversation. This team has struggled there, and we all know it. The defense has had some really bad performances when it mattered most. But I genuinely believe that with Christian Parker running this defense and the offensive pieces we have in place, this team has a real shot this year. First step is getting back to the playoffs, and then we take it from there. So let me know in the comments, do you think these Cowboys are finally the real deal this year?